A boy walks into his awakening ceremony with the highest stats anyone has ever seen. The entire academy holds its breath. The stone glows purple. Divine tier. Everyone loses their mind until the full title appears. Pig Butcher. And the worst part? In his eyes, every single person there is a pig. The day has finally arrived at Ching Chong Academy. Every student is lined up, hearts pounding, palms sweating. This is the awakening ceremony, the single moment that decides the entire direction of a person's life. Future warriors, mages, beast tamers, all waiting for their destiny to be revealed by one glowing stone platform. The first student steps forward. Life class, low-tier engineer. His face falls. The next one gets advanced mason. Another one, basic fitter. The crowd murmurs with mild disappointment. Then a boy named Liu Jinglong places his hand on the stone, and it explodes with golden light. Combat class, rare tier, Shadow Blade Master. The whole academy erupts. Principal Xiao Mingping himself steps forward with wide eyes. He calls Jinglong by name, tells him to rest, promises a personal visit to discuss his future. Jinglong smirks, that smug expression of someone who knows he just became the most important person in the room. Everyone is staring at him with admiration. But what happens next? Nobody could have predicted. Now it is Yi Chuan's turn. He is known as a strange one, quiet, distant, eyes that always seem to be looking at something nobody else can see. But his stats are off the charts. Most students have a total attribute score around 3. Chuan's is 10, 3 times the average. Principal Mingping feels something building in his chest. Genuine excitement, rare excitement. Chuan places his hand on the stone. A blinding purple light erupts outward. A powerful wind sweeps through the entire hall. Students stumble backward. The principal's mouth falls open. Divine tier. The wind is so strong nobody can read the full inscription yet. Every person in that hall is holding their breath. The wind dies down. The words become clear. Life class. Divine tier. Pig Butcher. Dead silence. Then the entire academy collapses into laughter. Principal Mingping feels the hope drain out of him instantly. In all his years leading this academy, this is the first divine tier awakening he has ever witnessed. And it belongs to a pig butcher. He stands there thinking, even a blacksmith, even an alchemist, even a basic physician would have brought glory. But this? He has no words. He just sighs. But while everyone else is laughing, a small system window blinks open in front of Chuan's eyes. It lists his stats cleanly. 5 strength, 3 agility, 2 spirit, tier 1 apprentice, 3 talents, nemesis of the pig clan, blade of gods, and blood shadow butcher. Nemesis of the pig clan deals 50% extra damage to pigs. Every pig killed increases this bonus by 1%. Damage taken from pigs is cut in half. Blade of gods turns his chosen weapon into a divine killing tool. Blood Shadow Butcher forces any pig into a 1-second frozen fear state. Chuan reads every line carefully. A slow realization spreads across his face. Because here is the thing. Chuan has a condition. His spine has a severe deformity. A twisted section presses directly on his optic nerves. The result? Every living creature he looks at appears to him as a pig. The doctor at the hospital had confirmed it weeks ago. Even she, standing there in her white coat, trying to reason with him, had looked like a pig in glasses. His class says pig butcher. His condition says the whole world is full of pigs. He does the math quietly. Being crazy, he thinks, has its benefits. And just when he thinks he has processed it all, Lingguan appears. She has been his neighbor since childhood. Both their families are life class. Their parents have always tried to pair them together. She always stood by him, always cheered for him. Right now, she walks up to him and pats his head gently. She tells him that his profession is like carrying on his father's legacy. The boys nearby nearly die from envy. Then it is Lingguan's turn at the stone. She quietly promises him, no matter what class she awakens, she will always stay by his side. She places her hand on the stone. The wind explodes outward again, even stronger than before. The principal's eyes go wide a second time. Legendary class. Combat type. Snow's soul, sword immortal. A mutation. Both her parents are life class, yet she awakened a legendary combat profession. The principal immediately steps forward and guarantees her every resource the academy has to offer. Students begin whispering. Some wonder aloud whether she will continue associating with the pig butcher now. Others assume Chuan should have enough self-awareness to step aside. Lingguan turns to Chuan. Her voice is cold. She says there were misunderstandings between them before, but those should be considered settled now. They are no longer from the same world. She does not want him to pretend to be strong. He is just a pig butcher. He will never achieve anything great. She hopes he will not bother her again. Chuan simply replies, "Okay." He does not flinch. He does not beg. He just turns and walks away, feeling genuinely relieved. In his eyes, she was just another pig head anyway. But Jinglong is not done. He grabs Chuan's arm from behind and demands his attention. Chuan turns and glares at him. One single look. Jinglong stumbles backward. Something about that stare makes his entire body freeze. He feels like a hog roped to a slaughtering block. He does not understand what happened. His friends laugh at him. Jinglong attacks out of pure rage. Their fists clash. Jinglong's hand breaks. Everyone stares. Jinglong screams that he will end him and materializes a glowing sword, a yellow-grade spirit weapon. Principal Mingping watches quietly, noting that in just days Jinglong has already refined a true spirit weapon and reached 4th rank. Lingguan freezes Jinglong's sword before he can swing it. She tells them to stop fighting over her. Then she turns to Chuan and tells him this is the last time she will help him. Consider it a goodbye to the past. She orders him to leave the academy entirely, because if Jinglong seeks revenge again, she will not intervene. Chuan yawns, tells her if there is nothing else, he will be going. He walks away without looking back. On the street outside the city, a woman's dog bites onto his pants. He sees both her and the dog as pigs. He kicks the dog to test a theory. The system confirms it immediately. Level increase, 1% extra damage boost. The woman prepares to attack him. He calmly shows her his medical papers. She stops, softens, tells him to take care of his health. That night, a shadowy figure appears at the window of Chuan's home. His father, a man named Chi-Wan, opens his eyes slowly. The figure speaks from outside, calling through the glass. It mentions the name Ghost Cry, and implies that Chi-Wan was once known by that name. It questions whether a son of Ghost Cry could really be nothing but a pig butcher. Chi-Wan holds back his anger and warns the figure calmly, "Stop coming here, or next time there will be consequences." The figure says if the boy is truly just a pig butcher, the organization has no interest in him. Then it vanishes. The next morning, Chi-Wan takes his son to the slaughterhouse. He tells him simply, a great pig butcher starts with the right knife. He lets Chuan choose. The moment Chuan picks one up, the blade of gods activates. Every pig killed with this knife grants him attribute points. Chi-Wan explains the basics. Aim for the main artery, kill clean, 1 strike. He tells Chuan to give it a try. Chuan swings. The pig's eyes roll back. System notification. Level increase. 1% bonus. He kills another. Then another. The attribute points stack. By the time he has worked through the entire pen, 49 pigs slaughtered, he has jumped all the way to 5th rank apprentice in a single afternoon. A butcher walks over to Chi-Wan and says his son just finished a full week's worth of work. Chi-Wan just laughs softly. He is not surprised. His son is a divine tier butcher. But Chuan is already thinking past the slaughterhouse, past the pigs, past the academy, past Jinglong and Lingguan and all of it. He is thinking about the outside world and what lies beyond the city walls. Chuan packs his bag the next morning without ceremony. In this world, countless races exist. Demons roam freely, monsters hunt the roads, and danger hides in every shadow beyond the city gates. None of that concerns him. He walks out with his knife and nothing else. He does not get far before he hears a muffled cry. Tucked between 2 trees, a young woman is tied up with a gag in her mouth. Around her, small goblin creatures are circling with hungry eyes. She spots Chuan and begs silently with her expression, "Please, save me." She braces herself as he raises his knife. Instead of touching her, He cuts down every goblin in the clearing. Clean, fast, efficient. The rope holding her falls free. He crouches beside her and tells her plainly, the goblins are already dead. Stop screaming. She stares at the bodies around her and then throws her arms around him, shaking with relief. She says she almost did not survive that. He clarifies that he did not come there to rescue her. He was simply passing through. She introduces herself as Sanin and asks what his name is. He tells her, then points her toward the left exit from the cave, says she will reach the city from there. Then he walks on. But what happens next, nobody could have predicted. Sanin follows him quietly through the dark forest. He senses her immediately. He turns and asks her coldly why she is trailing behind him. Does she work for the goblins? She screams out of shock and then explains herself. She simply does not want to walk back alone. He asks her why she was out here to begin with. She explains that her mother's birthday is approaching and she wanted to personally pick a blood moon flower as a gift. She got captured before she could find one. Then she offers him a deal. Help her locate the flower, and she will arrange for Ching Chang's finest blacksmith to forge him a new blade. He asks how much something like that costs. Her silence answers the question. He tells her to go back. She stops him with a name. Her father is Shiha, one of Ching Chang's 4 great aristocratic powers. 9th rank masterclass, 1 step from grandmaster. Chuan's expression shifts slightly. A man with that wealth could have 10 top-tier pig-butchering blades forged without blinking. She shows him a Shi clan protective token her father gave her. Even a pawned realm transfer could not scratch her while she carries it. The goblins could not touch her either, which is why they had to settle for keeping her tied up instead. He leans in to inspect the token carefully. She blushes without meaning to. He straightens up and agrees to the deal. He helps her find the flower. She arranges the blade. They shake on it. She pulls out a map. It marks the blood moon flower location. But wherever that flower grows, she explains, a blood moon python nests nearby. According to wilderness survival guides, that creature has strength comparable to a 9th rank apprentice. She asks him hesitantly if he can handle something like that. His face lights up. He tells her he has never seen a python before. She wonders privately whether he is fully listening to her. But after watching him wipe out an entire goblin camp alone, she assumes he must be some kind of god-tier combat class operating in disguise. She leads the way. They are barely moving before she grabs his arm and freezes. A silver-horned rhino is grazing in the clearing ahead. She whispers that they should quietly circle around it. Once enraged, that creature matches an 8th rank apprentice in raw power. Chuan stands up. She hisses at him to stop. He tells her calmly that an animal that eats grass today will eat people tomorrow. He cannot let it live. She tries to grab him. He is already running. Before the rhino can even register movement, Chuan's blade finds its weak point. 1 strike. The creature drops. The system window blinks. 7th rank apprentice. Nemesis of the Pig Clan damage bonus reaches 122%. Sanin stands completely still. Her mouth is open. She asks him what his class is. He tells her, life class butcher. She says that is impossible. No life profession kills a silver-horned rhino in a single strike. He shrugs, takes the horn as valuable material, and suggests the animal was probably old. She watches him closely. She can tell he is not lying, but she cannot explain what she just saw. And just when she thinks she understands him, the forest reveals something worse. They step into a clearing where the principal and a group of academy students are running field training. Ling Guan is there. Jinglong is there. Everyone stops when they see Chuan. Jinglong's eyes sharpen immediately. One of the girls with Ling Guan says Chuan must be so obsessed that he followed her here like a shadow. Ling Guan tells him again, different worlds, stop clinging. She announces that she has already secured a placement at Skyome Academy. Jinglong pulls out his weapon. It glows differently now. His friend identifies it as a yellow-grade, low-tier spirit weapon. He refined it in just a few days. Principal Mingping observes quietly that Jinglong has already reached 4th rank and refined a spirit weapon. He confirms internally, this boy is a genuine genius. Jinglong attacks Chuan directly. He wants Ling Guan watching. He wants to make a point. Their blades meet. Jinglong pours his full power into the swing. and breaks Chuan's knife cleanly in half. He smiles at Lingguan. The crowd watches. Chuan stares at the broken blade in his hand. Then he says quietly, he does not need a blade to deal with Jinglong. Jinglong's expression goes white with fury. He charges again, sword raised. Chuan meets him with his bare fist straight into his stomach. Jinglong is launched backward through the air and crashes to the ground. He clutches his gut and barely manages to stay conscious. The clearing is completely silent. Principal Mingping walks over and confirms. Has Chuan already reached 7th rank? He observes that life class and combat class level differently. Combat class must train, fight, get injured, master techniques. Growth is slow at first, but accelerates with breakthroughs. Life class advances through craft repetition. A pig butcher simply kills pigs over and over in early stages. Lingguan says bitterly that Chuan is just exploiting his higher realm. She calls it unfair to combat class students. Mingping explains gently that every time Chuan advances a realm, the number of pigs required doubles. By Ascension realm, the numbers become astronomical. Combat class will overtake him eventually, but Sanan has heard enough. She steps forward and tells them all bluntly. Chuan was helping her search for a flower. Running into this group was pure bad luck. She asks what nonsense they are constructing in their heads. One of Jinglong's friends makes a remark about Chuan and Sanan. She slaps him across the face. Then she slaps Jinglong's other friend. Then she slaps the principal. Nobody moves. Chuan stares at her with an expression somewhere between impressed and horrified. Principal Mingping slowly recognizes the Shi clan token around her neck. He stops Lingguan from retaliating and forces her to apologize to Chuan. Lingguan does it, mouth tight, eyes burning with barely contained rage. Chuan tells Sanan they should go. Jinglong screams for him to return the sword. Chuan tells him to come take it back if he has the nerve. Sanan sticks her tongue out at Jinglong as they leave. They arrive at the dried-out tree zone. Sanan confirms from her map correct location. Chuan checks his stats. The exclusive butchering knife has been registered. Blade of Gods activates fully. Every pig kill now grants double the previous attribute points. He notes the improvement and decides a quality blade really does make all the difference. He vaults across the cliff edge to scout ahead. Sanan stays back and spots the flower immediately. Not just a blood moon flower. A blood crystal twin flower. Rare mutation. Worth far more. Her excitement dies the moment the blood moon python rises behind Chuan. He turns, stares at the snake's pig-shaped face in his vision, asks it calmly. First time seeing someone pick a flower? He uses the 1-second distraction to sprint. He yells at Sanan to move. She snaps out of her shock and hurls both Thunderfire pearls at the python. The explosion hits it hard. It reaches for them and falls off the cliff edge. Chuan hands her the blood crystal twin flower. She is glowing with happiness, face red, holding it close. But the python is not finished. The python lunges back from the cliff edge with its mouth stretched wide open. Sanan screams. Chuan activates Blood Shadow Butcher. The snake sees itself strapped to a butchering board with Chuan standing over it, blade raised. It freezes for 1 full second. Chuan sprints across the gap and clears the cliff. But before he can fully land, the python recovers and swallows him whole. Sanan screams his name. The snake turns toward her next. She backs against the rocks, hands shaking. No weapons left, no plan. Then from inside the snake's body, something begins to move. A faint glow, then a violent slash from within. Chuan cuts himself out from the inside. The python collapses in 2 clean halves. Chuan steps out, covered in the creature's blood, completely calm. Sanan runs to him and wraps her arms around him, trembling with relief. She says she cannot watch someone die because of her. Then the smell hits her. She steps back immediately and tells him he nearly became python waste. System notification. 8th rank apprentice. Nemesis of the pig clan damage bonus increases again. Free attribute points stacked. He picks up the 2nd blood crystal twin flower, the one growing near the cliff edge. He tucks it carefully into his bag. Sanan watches and asks if he picked that one for her as well. He replies flatly, it is for his mother. Her expression cycles through surprise, disappointment, and annoyance in under 3 seconds. They make their way back to the city entrance. And just when he thinks it is over, everything changes. A middle-aged man rushes forward to meet Sanan at the gate. He scolds her for going outside alone and tells her the servants could have handled it. She pushes back and shows him the flower, saying she wanted to personally pick it for her mother. Then she points to Chuan and says he protected her. The man, a senior figure of the Shi household, studies Chuan carefully. He notes that wherever blood crystal flowers grow, blood moon pythons nest. Sending a life-class butcher as protection seems unusual, but something about the way Chuan stands tells him the snake is already dead. He says the young man seems promising for his age and offers a gold ring worth 200,000 coins as thanks. Chuan declines. He says he only wants a pig slaughtering blade. The man blinks. He looks at Sanan. She confirms the deal she made. He nods slowly and says he will arrange it through Master Taishin, Qing Chang's greatest blacksmith, a close associate of the Shi clan. Chuan can visit the forge the next day. As Sanan leaves with the household guard, the senior man turns back to Chuan with a quiet warning. Do not develop any inappropriate ideas about the young lady. It will not end well. Chuan replies simply that to him. She is just another pig head. He only wants the blade. But the forest behind them holds something else entirely. Back in the trees, a figure crouches over the python's remains. A humanoid snake creature, woman in shape, scales along her arms, fury burning in her eyes. She examines the corpse and the missing flowers. She swears quietly that she will remember this scent. Her mere presence sends every nearby creature running. That same evening, Chuan enters a materials trading shop inside the city. He drops the silver-horned rhino horn on the counter. The shopkeeper woman stares. She offers 10,000 coins. He does the math. His father earns 100 coins per pig. This single horn equals 100 pigs. His gaze drifts to a display case. Golden scaled soft armor, fireproof and cold-proof, made from firecloth serpent scales. 150,000 coins. He offers Jinglong's spirit sword as trade. The shopkeeper's eyes go wide. She agrees instantly and snaps the armor onto him herself. She tells him it looks custom-made. Then she tries to seduce him, leaning close, asking what his profession is. He glances at her. Pig face. He ignores every word she says and walks out wearing the armor. Back home, the door crashes open. Jinglong's father, Lu Xing, storms in with Jinglong at his side. Xing is a 6th-rank Pond Realm transfer. He accuses Qi-Wan of raising a thieving son. Qi-Wan tries to defend Chuan, pointing out that a pig butcher could hardly steal a spirit weapon. But Jinglong points directly at Chuan. Qi-Wan turns to his son. Chuan explains without hesitation. Jinglong attacked him first. He took the blade. He let Jinglong off easy. Jinglong argues it was just sparring. Xing demands 1 million coins in compensation. Qi-Wan points out that the market value of a yellow-grade, low-tier spirit weapon is 200,000. Xing does not budge. Half a month, bring the money, or face consequences. He slaps Qi-Wan across the face with the implicit threat in his posture. Jinglong mouths at Chuan from the doorway, "You are finished." After they leave, Chuan's mother tells her husband to go apologize. Bring pork. Ask for forgiveness. Qi-Wan agrees quietly. Then he turns to Chuan and tells him firmly, "Do not carry this alone. Come to us when things get hard. That is what family is for." Chuan says nothing out loud, but inside his head, the math is simple. He needs a spirit weapon. He needs to reach Pond Realm. He needs to be strong enough that no one like Xing can walk into his home and threaten his father again. That night, Qi-Wan leads his son up a long stone staircase behind the house. He tells Chuan he created something over his years as a butcher, a blade technique built entirely from his own experience. 3 strikes. He will teach all 3 tonight. Chuan is to watch carefully because he will only show each one once. Qi-Wan lifts his enormous blade with both hands. His first strike is called Falling Star. He swings downward and the air splits. The shockwave cracks stone at the base of the staircase. Chuan's jaw loosens slightly. The second strike is Falling Moon. Qi-Wan launches upward and unleashes a horizontal wave of compressed force from the blade in midair. The trees along the ridge bend backward. Chuan asks quietly, "How does he fold the air like that?" Chi-Wan says he twists surrounding space through focused intent. The third strike, devouring Sunday, Chi-Wan drives the blade downward into the ground, and a pillar of explosive energy rockets straight up into the sky. The boom rolls outward for several seconds. Chuan stares at his father. He says slowly, "What kind of pigs require techniques like these?" Chi-Wan just tells him to learn them well. He sets his massive blade down for Chuan to practice with, warns him that it is heavy, and then sits against the tree to rest. Chuan grips the handle. His arms shake. The blade is absurdly heavy, far heavier than anything he has touched. He lifts it with both hands and barely keeps his balance. His father appears to fall asleep. Chuan starts drilling the falling star form over and over. Hours pass. The night deepens. Chuan keeps going, sweat soaking through his clothes, legs burning, arms screaming. He thinks about Xing. He thinks about that smug expression Jinglong made at the door. He keeps swinging. At some point he does not register. Dawn begins to come. He completes one final falling star strike, and the force is genuine this time. Debris flies. Birds scatter from the tree line in every direction. He looks at his hands in surprise. Then he collapses. Chi-Wan watches from behind the tree. He says nothing. He always knew that if his son ever enters the Sealing realm, those 3 strikes will be able to cut down even those chosen by heaven itself. System notification. 9th rank apprentice. Strength, agility, and spirit all at 55. Blood Shadow Butcher upgrades to level 2. New skill learned, Falling Star. He wakes up in a medical clinic. His mother is beside him. The doctor explains that he fainted from extreme exhaustion. Based on lactic acid levels alone, he performed 1,000 sit-ups, 1,000 push-ups, 1,000 squats, and ran 100 kilometers, all in a single night. His mother stares at her. The doctor says a normal person would not survive that. Given his mental state, she finds it somewhat reasonable. His mother turns around and begins preparing to go home and beat her husband. Chuan is already gone. Chuan walks through the city streets in the early morning light, turning over the numbers in his head. Falling Star drains stamina at an alarming rate. He makes a mental note. That technique is for absolute last resorts only. No casual use. He also needs to upgrade his blade before he can think about facing anyone at Xing's level. He heads to the Ironheart Foundry. Master Teishin is already at the door when Chuan arrives. The blacksmith is a serious man, direct eyes, hands scarred from decades at the forge. He confirms Chuan's name and tells him the Shi family explained everything. He worked through the entire night to complete the weapon. He also heard the boy is a pig butcher, which he finds puzzling. The Shi family does not pay fortunes for just anyone. He opens the display box. Inside rests a blade, unlike anything Chuan has held before. But Master Teishin closes the box before Chuan can touch it. He tells him not to rush. The knife is forged from 1,000-year cold iron, refined over 49 consecutive days. It is yellow rank high grade, and it recognizes its owner. If Chuan's cultivation level is not sufficient, he might not even be able to lift it, let alone use it. Chuan reaches forward and wraps his hand around the handle. He lifts it without effort. He shifts it from hand to hand and notes privately, lighter than his father's blade. Master Teishin stares. He cannot speak for a full 3 seconds. Chuan asks what the knife is named. The blacksmith tells him it has no name yet. It belongs to Chuan, so the naming right belongs to him. Chuan thinks for a moment. Then he announces Dragon Slayer. Master Teishin lets out a short, genuine laugh. He calls it the most cliched name he has heard in years. But the blade is Chuan's. He takes it. System registration. Dragon Slayer equipped. Every pig killed with this weapon now grants triple the previous attribute points. He checks the number. It was 0.1 before. Now it reads 0.3. He files this away carefully. Quality really does make a measurable difference. He leaves the foundry and heads toward the city walls. His target is first rank Dangtang realm. Just enough cultivation to face Xing on even ground. He knows he cannot reach that from inside the slaughterhouses alone. He needs real opponents. And just when he thinks he has a clear path forward, 3 men step out of the shadows. One of them identifies himself by referencing Lu Xing's name. They have been watching Chuan for days. Their instructions were simple. The moment he leaves the city, sever his tendons, drag him back. The fat one adds that Xing predicted exactly this. They figured Chuan was trying to abandon his parents and run. Chuan looks at the 3 of them. The lead man is a 9th rank apprentice. The fat one and the 3rd stand slightly behind. He grips the Dragon Slayer. The men laugh at the name. He lets them finish. Then his expression shifts, something cold, something absolute. He utters quietly, "I'm not a hero. I'm just a pig butcher." His body is already beside the fat one before anyone registers movement. 1 slash to the neck. The man drops. The system confirms, 2-legged pig slaughtered. 5% experience. 1% bonus damage. 0.3 free attribute points. The remaining 2 freeze. The lead man bolts immediately. He does not even check on his fallen ally, just runs. The 3rd man turns to run as well. Before he finishes the thought, his head is already separated from his shoulders. System notification again. Same numbers. The lead man is sprinting full speed through the forest road. His heart is slamming. He tells himself his speed is his advantage. Nobody catches him when he runs. He sees the open stretch ahead. The Dragon Slayer hits him in the back. Chuan had thrown it from 30 meters. He walks forward, retrieves the blade, and searches the man's pockets. He finds a skill scroll. Shadow, go step. Upon activation, agility increases by 30% for 30 seconds. Beginner level. He does not complain. Free bonuses are free bonuses. He heads deeper into the forest. By the blood. It has been eating humans. He can see the evidence clearly. He cannot let it continue. He activates Shadow Go Step and moves through the trees, jumping branch to branch at 30% enhanced speed. The creature fires its spikes at him. He catches most of them with his arm. They pierce his skin. He registers the pain the way someone registers acupuncture. Uncomfortable, manageable, ultimately irrelevant. He slashes it. System notification. 5% experience. 1% bonus. 0.3 attribute points. He pulls every spike from his body after. 80% experience remaining to reach Dangtang realm. He walks deeper. A silver-horned rhino charges out from the brush. He sidesteps and drops it before it passes him. More experience. More attribute points. 70% remaining. He notices the rhino's corpse begin to drag itself away and follows it to the source. A deep pit covered in webbing. Something large lies here. A golden-legged spider drops from above him. He barely turns in time to block its fangs with the Dragon Slayer. He examines its legs carefully. The gold catches the light. He wants those legs. The spider wraps him in webbing before he can react. Then it drives a fong into his leg. He crashes forward. The tarantula venom hits his system immediately. Neurological disruption, uncontrolled frenzy state incoming. He thrashes against the web, face frothing, eyes glowing. The spider watches him and takes a small step backward involuntarily. He breaks free from the webbing, foaming and swinging wildly. He grabs the web thread directly from the spider's abdomen and yanks it. The spider rears up in confusion and pain. He raises the Dragon Slayer above his head with both hands and drives it down. When the red clears from his vision, he is sitting in the pit with the spider in pieces around him and his level screen blinking. Dangtang realm. 1st rank. Strength, agility, and spirit each at 100 plus. He sits quietly for a moment processing this. An hour later, he has the spider cooking over a small fire. He has no idea exactly how he made the final breakthrough. He was not conscious for part of it. He is also very hungry. A figure emerges from the trees beside him without warning. She is tall, striking, with 2 curved horns rising from her head. Her eyes carry a hypnotic pull. Any man who meets her gaze directly tends to forget his own name. She tells him it smells wonderful and asks if she can have some. Chuan replies flatly. If she wants food, she should go hunt her own. She blinks. The allure is not working. No glassy eyes, no sudden compliance. She looks at him directly, extending her full power of charm, and he just keeps eating. She sees her as a pig with horns. That is all. She switches tactics. She says she has questions. Her blood crystal twin flower has been stolen, and her pet python was killed. She wants to know who did it. Chuan realizes in the same moment that she is the one who cultivated those flowers for decades. He is the one who took them. He denies everything and tells her with complete composure that the culprit was a man named Lu Xing. He even expresses sympathy for the loss of her adorable snake. She stares at him. Then she looks at his clothes. She remembers his scent from the cliffside. She knew it was him before she even sat down. She attacks with her claws. He blocks with the Dragon Slayer. She wraps him upside down in her grip and demands to know where her flower is. He activates Blood Shadow Butcher. She sees herself tied to a butchering block with him standing over her. She screams and claws at her own arms to break the illusion. He drops free and runs. He yells back that the spider meat and legs are fair trade for the flower. She chases after him. A windfire ape explodes out of the path ahead and blocks Chuan entirely. The horned woman reaches it in a single stride, grabs it by the face, and tears a gash along its jaw. The ape collapses. She faces Chuan again. He grips Dragon Slayer with both hands. Dark energy begins rising off his arms. His expression drops completely flat. He says one word, Fallen Star. She freezes. Her eyes go wide. She recognizes that form. The horned woman stands completely still. Her body has stopped moving on instinct alone. That stance, the way the dark energy coils upward from his arms, the positioning of both hands on the blade, the absolute stillness in his face, she recognizes the falling star form. She cannot confirm whether he actually knows the full technique or whether he is bluffing. But she cannot afford to find out. If he truly knows Falling Star, she is dead. That is not an exaggeration. That is a calculation. She holds her position, weighing the risk. Before she can reach a decision, two figures emerge from the tree line behind Chuan. A young woman calls out to someone she addresses as Uncle Chien. Two men appear, one carrying a massive sledgehammer, the other moving with the careful posture of someone who has fought seriously before. The horned woman's eyes move between Chuan and the new arrivals. She reassesses. She tells him coldly that she did not expect backup, and that she assumes he planned this ambush deliberately. She warns him she will remember what he has done to her. Then she leaves. One motion, gone into the trees. Chuan lowers the Dragon Slayer. He lets out a long breath. He was not entirely certain the technique would have connected. The man with the sledgehammer walks to the fallen windfire ape and examines the kill. He reports to the young woman. The ape that broke free from their chains earlier was killed by this kid. The woman turns toward Chuan with sharp, evaluating eyes. She introduces herself as Jiang. She says she wants to invite him to join the Nine Heavens Alliance. Chuan registers the name. The Nine Heavens Alliance is one of the three dominant powers in Qing Chong. He tries to explain that the ape situation had nothing to do with him. He was simply passing through. Nobody appears convinced. The old uncle circles the body again. He cannot reconcile a windfire ape, 7th rank Dang Tang realm, being dropped in a single strike by a 1st rank. He tells Jiang this young man has real potential. He agrees they need him. Chuan is already thinking ahead. The horned woman's strength terrified him. If she decides to come back, he needs backing. He also notes that the Nine Heavens Alliance is specifically hunting a target called the Blazing Blade King. He asks what the reward is. The one-eyed man standing behind Jiang says something dismissive about Chuan not understanding how any of this works. He explains, when you defeat a King Realm expert, you absorb their title and their realm directly. The strength transfer is immediate and absolute. It is not a challenge for anyone without serious ability. Most people who attempt it do not come back. Chuan interprets this as become massively powerful overnight. He agrees to join on the spot. Jiang looks pleased. The one-eyed man, his name is Jio Wan, looks the opposite of pleased. The uncle prepares to retrieve the Windfire ape's hide. This hide is essential. Without fire-resistant armor made from its skin, no one can survive the heat field surrounding the blazing Blade King's territory in Fenchen Valley. The group had found the ape originally, but it chewed through its chains and escaped. Recovering it here was already a fortunate development. The uncle raises his tool to begin skinning. Before he can start, Chuan says he is a professional. He steps forward, draws the Dragon Slayer, and completes the entire skinning job in under 60 seconds. He presents the hide, clean, precise, not a single tear. Their mouths fall open in unison. Zhang stares at him with a very different expression than before. They move out together. The uncle carries the hide. The plan is to return to their base, craft the fire-resistant armor, and move on the blazing Blade King before rival groups can claim the inheritance. And just when the path seems clear, it is blocked. 3 men step out from the road ahead. The leader wears a lion emblem on his collar, the mark of the Thunder Lion Alliance. He speaks to Zhang directly and tells her to hand over the Windfire ape hide. She tells him to choose his next words carefully. The Thunder Lion leader smirks. He cannot help noticing how tense things are on her side of the road. Jia-Wan leans toward the uncle and mutters that they should hand the hide over and go gather reinforcements. Before anyone can respond, Chuan moves to block the throw. Jia-Wan spins on him. He demands to know what he thinks he is doing. Chuan replies that he skinned the hide himself, so logically it is safest in his hands. Zhang watches this exchange and calls Jia-Wan off. The Thunder Lion leader watches the Nine Heavens Alliance fracture in real time in front of him and smiles. Zhang confronts Chuan. Is he seriously thinking about the hide right now, or is he considering betrayal? Chuan looks mildly offended that she suspects him and not Jia-Wan. Jia-Wan suddenly draws his weapon. He admits it. The Thunder Lion Alliance is paying triple. He is done pretending to be loyal. He swings at the uncle, who barely dodges. The uncle roars and raises his sledgehammer. Jia-Wan is fast enough to stay ahead of it, darting between positions with practiced ease. The Thunder Lion leader draws dual blades that shimmer with refined energy. The uncle blocks with the hammer handle and recognizes immediately. Lei has broken in a second-rank Master Realm. He came prepared specifically to fight through the Nine Heavens Alliance's strongest member. Lei tells them plainly, none of them walk away today. He attacks. Zhang draws her instrument and begins to play. The 2 Thunder Lion lackeys immediately split off to stop her. They know what her music does in a fight. They bombard her with water and fire simultaneously. She parries with quick bursts from the strings, but cannot fully concentrate. She shouts a warning to Chuan that Jia-Wan is 5th rank Dang Tang. He outclasses him by 4 full ranks. He needs to be careful. Jia-Wan is already swinging. Chuan activates Blood Shadow Butcher. The effect hits Jia-Wan instantly. He sees himself hogtied and placed on a block, Chuan's knife raised. He flinches. That single break in motion is all Chuan needs. He activates Shadow Ghost steps simultaneously and shifts sideways at full speed, circling behind Jia-Wan while keeping both arms moving. Jia-Wan recovers and slashes in a wide arc. Chuan pulls the bag of hide in front of him as a shield. Jia-Wan cannot risk cutting through it. The hide is the entire objective. He holds back. Chuan uses the restraint to slash Jia-Wan's leg from below. Clean hit. Jia-Wan crashes to one knee with a scream. Chuan stands over him. The expression on his face is not anger. It is calm, methodical, like a craftsman completing a job. Zhang stares from across the clearing. 1st rank Dang Tang, 4 ranks below Jia-Wan, and Jia-Wan is on the ground. She locks in the conclusion she has been forming since the Windfire ape. This boy is a god-tier combat class hiding inside a pig butcher registration. But the uncle is losing. Lei has him pressed back against a tree, sledgehammer deflected again and again by dual blades that move faster than the eye tracks cleanly. The uncle screams out as a blade catches his side and electricity runs through his body. He drops to one knee. Chuan assesses the field. Jia-Wan is down. The lackeys are still suppressing Zhang. Lei is about to finish the uncle. He makes a decision instantly to remove the command structure of the Thunder Lion group. he needs to go through the head first. He grips Dragon Slayer with both hands. The dark energy starts rising again. Lay finishes another electric slash that sends the uncle skidding across the dirt. The uncle is breathing hard, hammer arm barely lifting. Lay raises both blades for a finishing combination, and then Chuan lands in front of him. Lay looks at this first rank Dang Tang kid, standing between him and an unconscious uncle. He tilts his head. Then he swings. Chuan catches both blades on the Dragon Slayer. The impact rattles his arms to the bone. His boots carve lines in the ground as he absorbs the force. But he does not move backward. Lay's eyes sharpen. He pushes more energy into the blades, doubling the output. Chuan pushes back. Lay feels something he has not felt in a long time. Genuine resistance from someone younger and weaker than him on paper. He increases the electricity output. The current crawls up Dragon Slayer toward Chuan's hands. Chuan grits his teeth. His skin smells like burning. He does not let go. He activates Blood Shadow Butcher. Lay sees himself on the block. The image hits him differently than it hits others. Instead of fear, he feels rage. He breaks the vision by sheer will. But the momentary break was enough. Chuan releases the block suddenly and steps inside Lay's reach. He drives an elbow into Lay's ribs, then pivots and slashes Dragon Slayer across the back of both of Lay's weapon hands in one motion. Both dual sword drop. Lay staggers, hands numb to the wrist. Zhang's music fills the clearing at full force as the two lackeys lose their focus for a single second. The sound wave she releases drops them both simultaneously. She lowers the instrument and breathes. The fight is over in under 2 minutes from Chuan's entry. Lay kneels on the ground, fury and disbelief competing on his face. He says through clenched teeth, "A first-rank Dang Tang with no formal combat training should not be capable of this." He demands to know Chuan's real profession. Chuan picks up the Dragon Slayer and wipes it on the grass. He answers simply, "Pig Butcher." Then he walks over to check the uncle's condition. The uncle is bruised. One side is bleeding, but alive. He looks up at Chuan from the ground with an expression that has completely abandoned skepticism. He asks nothing. He simply nods once. Jia-1 is not moved. He is alive. Barely. Zhang stands over him and says nothing for a long moment. Then she tells him quietly that when they return, he is to take nothing from the base and leave immediately. She does not raise her voice. The lack of emotion in her words is worse than anger. They bind Lay and his men and leave them secured against a tree. The Nine Heavens Alliance retrieves the Windfire ape hide and moves out. The uncle needs support walking. Chuan carries the hide. On the road back, Zhang moves beside Chuan and asks him what his real class is. He tells her again, life class, Pig Butcher. She says she does not believe that a life profession can fight the way he fights. He does not debate it. She changes the question. She asks where he learned the falling star technique. He says his father taught him. She's quiet for a while after that. Back at the Nine Heavens Alliance base, the fire-resistant armor takes 2 days to craft from the Windfire ape hide. During that time, Chuan trains alone each evening. He drills Falling Star until the form is clean, then Shadow Ghost Step until the timing becomes intuitive. The uncle watches once and does not say anything, just shakes his head slowly the way someone does when they have revised their entire understanding of a situation. On the 3rd morning, the armor is ready. Zhang holds the fitted pieces up and explains, the valley where the Blazing Blade King lives, Finchin Valley, runs at temperatures that would melt standard protective gear off a body within minutes. The hide armor buys them enough time to reach the interior. After that, they will need to move fast. The one-eyed man is gone. There are 5 of them left. Zhang, the uncle, 2 remaining alliance members, and Chuan. She looks at the group and says they move now before any other faction figures out what happened to Lay's team. They enter the forest road leading south. The temperature begins climbing within the first hour. By the second hour, the air itself has a shimmer to it, heat distortion visible even through the trees. The ground changes from soil to pale stone. Every step feels slightly damp with heat. The uncle breathes harder. Zhang monitors the altitude markers she has memorized. She tells them there are 40 minutes from the valley threshold. Then something drops from the canopy above them. Lay finishes another electric slash that sends the uncle skidding across the dirt. The uncle is breathing hard, hammer arm barely lifting. Lay raises both blades for a finishing combination, and then Chuan lands in front of him. Lay looks at this first rank dang tang kid, standing between him and an unconscious uncle. He tilts his head. Then he swings. Chuan catches both blades on the Dragon Slayer. The impact rattles his arms to the bone. His boots carve lines in the ground as he absorbs the force. But he does not move backward. Lay's eyes sharpen. He pushes more energy into the blades, doubling the output. Chuan pushes back. Lay feels something he has not felt in a long time. Genuine resistance from someone younger and weaker than him on paper. He increases the electricity output. The current crawls up Dragon Slayer toward Chuan's hands. Chuan grits his teeth. His skin smells like burning. He does not let go. He activates Blood Shadow Butcher. Lay sees himself on the block. The image hits him differently than it hits others. Instead of fear, he feels rage. He breaks the vision by sheer will. But the momentary break was enough. Chuan releases the block suddenly and steps inside Lay's reach. He drives an elbow into Lay's ribs, then pivots and slashes Dragon Slayer across the back of both of Lay's weapon hands in one motion. Both dual sword drop. Lay staggers, hands numb to the wrist. Zhang's music fills the clearing at full force as the two lackeys lose their focus for a single second. The sound wave she releases drops them both simultaneously. She lowers the instrument and breathes. The fight is over in under 2 minutes from Chuan's entry. Lay kneels on the ground, fury and disbelief competing on his face. He says through clenched teeth, "A first-rank dang tang with no formal combat training should not be capable of this." He demands to know Chuan's real profession. Chuan picks up the Dragon Slayer and wipes it on the grass. He answers simply, "Pig butcher." Then he walks over to check the uncle's condition. The uncle is bruised. One side is bleeding, but alive. He looks up at Chuan from the ground with an expression that has completely abandoned skepticism. He asks nothing. He simply nods once. Jia-1 is not moved. He is alive. Barely. Zhang stands over him and says nothing for a long moment. Then she tells him quietly that when they return, he is to take nothing from the base and leave immediately. She does not raise her voice. The lack of emotion in her words is worse than anger. They bind Lay and his men and leave them secured against a tree. The Nine Heavens Alliance retrieves the Windfire ape hide and moves out. The uncle needs support walking. Chuan carries the hide. On the road back, Zhang moves beside Chuan and asks him what his real class is. He tells her again, life class, pig butcher. She says she does not believe that a life profession can fight the way he fights. He does not debate it. She changes the question. She asks where he learned the falling star technique. He says his father taught him. She's quiet for a while after that. Back at the Nine Heavens Alliance base, the fire-resistant armor takes 2 days to craft from the Windfire ape hide. During that time, Chuan trains alone each evening. He drills Falling Star until the form is clean, then Shadow Ghost Step until the timing becomes intuitive. The uncle watches once and does not say anything, just shakes his head slowly the way someone does when they have revised their entire understanding of a situation. On the 3rd morning, the armor is ready. Zhang holds the fitted pieces up and explains, the valley where the Blazing Blade King lives, Finchin Valley, runs at temperatures that would melt standard protective gear off a body within minutes. The hide armor buys them enough time to reach the interior. After that, they will need to move fast. The one-eyed man is gone. There are 5 of them left. Zhang, the uncle, 2 remaining alliance members, and Chuan. She looks at the group and says they move now before any other faction figures out what happened to Lay's team. They enter the forest road leading south. The temperature begins climbing within the first hour. By the second hour, the air itself has a shimmer to it, heat distortion visible even through the trees. The ground changes from soil to pale stone. Every step feels slightly damp with heat. The uncle breathes harder. Zhang monitors the altitude markers she has memorized. She tells them there are 40 minutes from the valley threshold. Then something drops from the canopy above them. The Blazing Blade King watches Chuan step forward without ceremony. He tilts his head slightly. A pig butcher who moves like a seasoned fighter, carrying a blade named Dragon Slayer, walking toward a King Realm expert with the posture of someone who has already decided how this ends. He finds it genuinely interesting. Zhang puts out her arm to stop Chuan. She tells him quietly that the king's domain converts ambient heat into a direct weapon. Every attack Chuan makes will generate heat feedback through the blade. The stronger the strike, the more energy returns. Fighting him head-on is not a viable approach. Chuan asks her where the heat originates from. She says the vents beneath the floor and the walls of the chamber. The king draws from the entire valley simultaneously. Chuan looks at the floor. He looks at the walls. He looks at the floating blade beside the king. He asks one more question. Is the king's cultivation connected to the blade? Or is the blade a separate instrument? Zhang pauses. She says she does not know. Nobody in any recorded account of the Blazing Blade King has ever thought to ask that. Chuan nods once. He tells Zhang to play her instrument when he moves. He tells the uncle to be ready to move forward the moment he signals. He does not explain further. He steps past her arm and faces the king directly. The king raises one hand. A column of superheated air rises from the floor between them. Not fire, pure thermal compression. It warps the visual field between Chuan and the king like looking through disturbed water. The king says through it, he is curious what a pig butcher thinks he can accomplish here. Chuan activates Blood Shadow Butcher. The king sees himself on a butchering board. He sees the Dragon Slayer above him. He sees Chuan's face, completely calm, no performance, no drama. Just a craftsman about to work. The illusion lasts exactly 1 second. But the king has held King Realm for decades. He shatters the image and fires the thermal column forward. Chuan activates Shadow Ghost Step and disappears sideways. The column hits the chamber wall behind him and turns the stone face it touches into slag. The king tracks the movement, fast, very fast for first-rank Dang Tang. He recalibrates. The floating blade beside him tilts toward Chuan's new position. Zhang begins to play. The music disrupts the heat channels running through the chamber floor. 2 of the vents seal themselves as the vibration interferes with the natural pressure pathways. The king's available draw reduces. It is not dramatic. He still has most of the valley to pull from, but it is a measurable decrease. The king glances at her. The floating blade splits its attention, half facing Chuan, half turning toward Zhang. The uncle sees the blade shift and throws himself forward with the sledgehammer. He is not fast enough to close the distance before the blade adjusts back toward him. He catches a glancing heat discharge on his left arm and skids sideways. Arm scorched, but functioning. Chuan watches the blade and sees it. The blade is a relay instrument. The king distributes his domain attention through it. When it divides focus between multiple targets, each direction weakens. The connection between the king and the blade has a processing limit. He signals the uncle with one motion. The uncle roars and charges again. Not to connect, just to demand the blade's attention. Zhang's music shifts pitch, targeting a third vent. The blade is now tracking 3 directions. The king's expression loses its composure for the first time. Chuan runs directly at the king. Not around him. Not in an arc directly. The thermal column fires again at close range. Chuan raises Dragon Slayer and deflects the column sideways using the flat of the blade. The heat washes past him. His armor scorches along the right side. He does not slow down. He closes the distance in 2 seconds. He gets inside the king's reach before the floating blade can fully redirect. He grabs the king's blade arm with his free hand and holds it. They are face to face. The king's eyes are wide. No one has touched him inside the valley in decades. Chuan drives Dragon Slayer through the king's blade. Not into the king, into the floating weapon itself. The blade shatters. The domain connection breaks. Every vent in the valley goes silent simultaneously. The orange glow in the chamber walls fades. The temperature drops so fast the ambient moisture in the air condenses as a thin fog across the floor. The king drops to one knee, not from injury, but from the sudden void where his entire cultivation anchor was. Zhang stops playing. The uncle stops moving. Everyone in the chamber is completely still. The king looks at Chuan from the floor. He says quietly, "No one has ever approached that correctly. Every challenger fights the heat. No one has ever targeted the relay." Chuan says he just looked for the weak spot. The king is silent for a moment. Then he says, "It is rare." He extends one hand palm upward and a transfer begins. The king realm cultivation flows outward from him toward Chuan. Zhang's mouth opens. The uncle takes one involuntary step forward. The two remaining alliance members look at each other. The inheritance transfer completes. System notifications stack across Chuan's vision. Multiple rank promotions, new attribute entries, a king realm title registered under his name. Blazing Blade, inherited. His strength, agility, and spirit numbers multiply far beyond anything his pig kill grinding had produced. He stands in the center of Finchin Valley as the fog clears, holding Dragon Slayer at his side, completely still. Zhang walks forward slowly. She looks at him for a long moment. Then she says, "Pig Butcher." He nods. She shakes her head once, the way someone does when they have been categorically wrong about something and are choosing to accept it cleanly. The uncle puts his sledgehammer down on the stone floor and sits beside it. He says nothing. He just sits. On the road back to Qingchong, the group is quiet for the first half of the journey. The uncle's arm is wrapped. The two members walk slightly differently. The posture shift of people who have witnessed something that revises their scale of reference. Zhang walks beside Chuan. She tells him that the King Realm inheritance gives him standing within Qingchong that Xing cannot challenge through normal channels. A pig butcher who inherits a king title sits above standard aristocratic power structures in certain legal frameworks. She is not telling him to use it. She is informing him because she thinks he will want to know. He thinks about his father's face when Xing walked into the house. He thinks about the half-month deadline. He says, then he will go pay the debt. He separates from the group at the city entrance. He walks directly to Lu Xing's residence and knocks on the door. Xing answers personally. He sees Chuan standing alone at his gate and immediately starts calculating what leverage he has left. Chuan puts one hand on the gate frame. He tells Xing that he will not be bringing any money. He says that Xing's son attacked him first. The weapon was taken in self-defense, and the transaction he made with the blade was legally clean. He also tells him that as of this morning, he holds the Blazing Blade King inheritance and the title that transfers with it. He says this not as a threat. He says it as information. Xing's expression runs through several phases. He ends at something that looks like a man doing arithmetic in his head and not liking the answer. He tells Chuan that perhaps the situation was a misunderstanding. He says the debt can be considered resolved. Chuan nods once. He turns and walks home. His parents are in the front room when he arrives. His mother starts telling him what he should eat. His father is sitting at the table, massive blade propped against the chair beside him. Chuan puts the Dragon Slayer down beside it. He sits down. Chiwan asks how it went. Chuan says the debt is gone. Chiwan looks at him for a moment and then asks nothing else. He nods. His mother starts putting food on the table. Outside the window, the city of Qingchong moves through its evening the same as always. Market's closing. Lights coming on. The shadow organization that visited before does not appear at the window tonight. Somewhere in the forest, a horned woman sits beside a cold fire pit and turns a familiar scent over in her memory. Somewhere south, a broken stone chamber sits empty for the first time in decades. Chuan eats his dinner. The system sits quietly in the corner of his vision, not blinking. His stats are higher than anyone at Qingchong Academy by a margin that no longer makes sense on the same chart. In his eyes, everyone at the table is a pig. He finds this completely normal. He puts down his chopsticks, looks at the two pig-faced figures sitting across from him, and feels, for the first time in a long while, that things are exactly as they should be. If this pig butcher's story hit different, smash that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe for the next recap. See you there.